The name of this poem is True Manliness, written by James Freeman Clarke. Have you ever heard this poem? True manliness. A false notion of manliness leads boys astray. True manliness is humane. It says, "We who are strong are to bear the infirmities of the weak." Its work is to protect those who cannot defend themselves, to stand between the tyrant and the slave, the oppressor and his victim. It is identical in all times with the spirit of chivalry, which led the good knights to wander in search of robbers, giants, and tyrannical lords, those who oppressed the poor and robbed helpless women and orphans of their rights. There are no tyrant barons now, but the spirit of tyranny and cruelty is still to be found. The good knight today is he who provides help for the blind, the deaf and dumb, the insane, who defends animals from being cruelly treated, rescues little children from bad usage, and seeks to give working women their rights. He protects all these sufferers from that false manliness which is brutal to the weak. The true knights today are those who organize to prevent cruelty or to enforce laws against those who, for a little gain, make men drunkards. The giants and dragons today are those cruelties and brutalities which use their power to ill-treat those who are at their mercy. True manliness is tender and loving. False manliness, cold and hard, cynical and contemptuous. The bravest and most heroic souls are usually the most loving. Garibaldi, Gossep, Mazzini, the heroes of our times, Luther, who never feared the face of man, Gustavus, Adolphus, and William of Orange are examples of this union of courage and tenderness. Bold as lions in the defense of the right, such men in their homes and their private life have a womanly gentleness. False manliness is unfeeling, with no kindly sympathies, rude and rough and overbearing. True manliness is temperate, it is moderate, it exercises self-control, it is capable of self-denial and renunciation. False manliness is self-willed and self-indulgent. Wow, did you love this poem? This poem challenges a deeply rooted misunderstanding about strength and masculinity. James F. Clarke draws a clear line between what society often celebrates as manliness and what true manliness actually is. Instead of power, dominance, or hardness, he defines real strength as compassion, responsibility, and moral courage. At the center of this poem is a powerful idea. Strength exists to serve, not to dominate. True manliness, Clarke explains, is humane. It recognizes that those who are strong carry a duty toward those who are weak. Strength is not a license to rule over others. It is a call to protect them. This turns the common idea of masculinity upside down and replaces pride with purpose. The poem connects true manliness with the old spirit of chivalry. In earlier times, knights were admired not because they were violent, but because they defended the powerless. They stood between tyrants and victims, between cruelty and innocence. Clarke reminds us that while the world may no longer have castles and armored knights, the need for courage and protection has not disappeared. The tyrants of the modern world are different, but they are no less real. Cruelty, exploitation, neglect, and abuse still exist, often hidden in everyday systems. True manliness today, the poem argues, shows itself in defending those who cannot defend themselves, the disabled, the vulnerable, children, animals, and those denied fairness or dignity. Real strength speaks up when silence is easier. One of the most important messages in the poem is that brutality is not strength. Harshness toward the weak is a sign of false manliness, not true power. Clarke exposes the lie that being rough, cold, or emotionally distant makes someone strong. In reality, this kind of behavior comes from insecurity, not courage. True manliness, according to the poem, is tender and loving. This does not mean fragile or weak. It means deeply human. Clark points out that the bravest and most heroic individuals are often the most compassionate. Courage and kindness are not opposites, they are partners. The ability to care deeply while standing firmly for what is right is the highest form of strength. The poem also emphasizes self-control. True manliness is disciplined. It is capable of restraint, sacrifice, and responsibility. It resists self-indulgence and selfish desire. False manliness, by contrast, demands gratification, obedience, and dominance. It seeks comfort over conscience and power over principle. Another striking idea in the poem is balance. Clark describes truly strong individuals as bold in defending justice, yet gentle in private life. Strength does not require emotional hardness. A person can be firm without being cruel, decisive without being abusive, and confident without being arrogant. This balance is rare and deeply admirable. The poem also speaks to leadership. True leaders do not rule through fear. They guide through example. They organize to reduce harm, to protect society from cruelty, and to prevent exploitation. They recognize that progress is not measured by how powerful the strong become, but by how safe the vulnerable are made. What makes this poem especially relevant today is how often false manliness is still rewarded. Loudness, aggression, and domination are often mistaken for confidence. Clark's words act as a correction, reminding us that real courage often looks quiet, patient, and self-sacrificing. Ultimately, true manliness is not just about men, it is about character. It calls for a way of living rooted in empathy, responsibility, and moral strength. It asks us to examine how we use whatever power we have, physical, social, emotional, or institutional, and whether we use it to lift others or to elevate ourselves. This poem invites reflection. It asks us to choose courage over cruelty, compassion over contempt, and service over self-indulgence. In doing so, it offers a vision of strength that heals rather than harms. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to like, subscribe, and share this video. These ideas matter, and they deserve to be passed on. Thank you for listening. Thank you for standing for something deeper. Overstand, don't quit life.